Welcome back, curious souls! I'm here in Pawapuri, India, one of Jainism's most important cities. I'm just finishing my delicious meal of palak kasag. Last time we saw each other, I was pondering the all-vegetarian menu in this restaurant. Do you have any ideas about why there's no meat served here? No, not that I'm complaining. I loved it. And yes, I do want dessert. Thanks. Okay, curious souls, ponder that question while I savor some delicious gulab jamun. I'll see you on the other side of the intro. Welcome back to the Library of Faith. Now, did you figure out why some restaurants in the area are all vegetarian? We'll get there soon. Today, we're going to be connecting Jain principles with daily standards of conduct, and my palak kasag is only the tip of the iceberg. Nearly all facets of life are influenced by the central principle of Jainism. Do you recall it? That's right, ahimsa, or nonviolence. So how do Jains apply ahimsa in their daily lives? Please follow along and fill in your guided viewing as we go through this section. Perhaps the most noticeable way is their diet. Jains practice strict vegetarianism. Many even avoid root vegetables like onions, garlic, and potatoes to prevent harming small organisms in the soil when harvesting them. Aside from diet, there are other ways that Jains try to avoid harming even the smallest of souls. Some sweep the floor before walking in order to not step on any insects and wear a mask in part to avoid breathing them in. In general, Jains try to avoid activities that harm the environment. For example, a Jain farmer would be more likely to practice sustainable farming methods and not use chemicals that have a negative impact on the ecosystem. Now, how do you think ahimsa influences a Jain's actions with others in the community? Jains emphasize peaceful relations with others. In this way, ahimsa is related to anekantavada, the complexity of reality. By recognizing that another person's perspective is valuable, Jains are able to practice compassion and nonviolence, even if they don't agree with them. But ahimsa is just one key principle applied in daily life. In fact, it's the first of 5 vows that Jains take. While monks and nuns must adhere even more strictly to these vows, they're for everyone. The other 4 vows are truthfulness, avoiding stealing, faithfulness to a spouse, and avoiding attachment to material possessions. But remember, ahimsa is everywhere in Jainism. So how do you think the principle of ahimsa influences the last 4 vows? If you need a hint, consider that ahimsa means not causing pain in any form to other souls, not just physical pain. So now, let's find out how ahimsa influences the last 4 vows of Jainism. So think about it. Have you ever been lied to? How did it make you feel? Jains avoid lying because they don't want to cause harm to others with dishonest words. Now, how would it feel to have something important taken from you? Jains avoid stealing, as taking what belongs to others is wrong and it causes them pain. These 2 vows encourage Jains to emphasize honest and ethical business practices. Next, Jains vow to remain faithful to their spouse. Disloyalty can cause emotional harm and damage a family. Finally, Jains try not to become attached to possessions. In their everyday lives, that means living simply, not always needing the newest and fanciest things. Additionally, many Jains get involved in charity work. Non-attachment helps Jains avoid greed, which can harm others. All right, curious souls, time to move on, but feel free to go back and rewatch any part of this section of the video if you're missing part of your guided viewing. For our final segment on Jainism, it's back to the rickshaw. We're going to take a field trip to find out about Jain rituals, symbols, and festivals. On the way, I'll tell you a bit about daily life for Jains. Just like Hindus, many Jains start their prayers and meditation at home in the morning. This helps worshippers to achieve the mental tranquility needed to approach the day with peace. After that, a Jain's first stop is usually the local temple. And look, that's our first stop too. Here at the temple, a worshipper will perform puja or worship rituals by offering prayers and honoring idols of the Tirthankars by bathing them in water or milk and dropping flowers around them. This symbolizes the washing away of impurities and the desire for worshippers to become pure, just like their enlightened spiritual guides. At the temple, a worshipper may also read sacred scriptures such as the Agamas, the teachings of Mahavira. Jains visit temples so they can participate in communal rituals and prayers in a peaceful setting, promoting ahimsa. Let's hop back in the rickshaw now to check out some examples of common Jain symbols. In order to see a common symbol of Jainism, we're gonna head to some amazing caves that were used to house Jain monks for centuries. Okay, I think I see the Jain symbol. The bottom portion shows a hand with a wheel in its palm. The open hand is a gesture of peace, symbolizing a stop to violence. The wheel represents samsara, indicating that non-violence will help liberate a person from this cycle. Above the hand is a swastika. For many, the swastika carries an extremely negative connotation as it was misused by Nazi Germany in the 20th century as a representation of hatred and violence. However, the symbol has existed in Jainism and other Asian traditions for thousands of years, and its authentic meaning has no relation to Nazi ideology. Rather, to Jains, the swastika represents the perpetual cycle of rebirth and the importance of right conduct to achieve liberation from this cycle. Above the swastika are 3 dots. Can you guess what these mean? They represent the 3 jewels of Jainism: right knowledge, right faith, and right conduct. So this comprehensive symbol reminds Jains of several key religious principles. All right, ready to move on? Our last stop, Jain festivals. The most important Jain festival is Paryushan Parva. Lasting for over a week, Jains engage in fasting, prayer, meditation, and reading of scriptures. At the end of the week, they observe Forgiveness Day. Here, they seek forgiveness from others for any harm caused during the year. How does Paryushan Parva reinforce core Jain values? Well, not only do Jains remind themselves of core values through meditation and reading of scripture, they also put their beliefs into practice by trying to atone for any pain they've caused to another soul over the past year. And look at this, curious souls! We're right back where we started our journey through Jainism. Jal Mandir, the water temple. This is where Mahavira attained enlightenment. Many Jains complete pilgrimages to this site, especially for the celebration of Diwali. Adherents light oil lamps, recite sacred texts, and meditate. But perhaps most significant of all, the festival is a time for Jains to reflect on their actions and to perform charitable works for the needy. A fitting way to embody what it means to be a Jain, I'd say. Okay, take a minute to pause and complete your guided viewing task on Jain rituals, symbols, and festivals. Well, curious souls, we've had quite an adventure through Jainism, wouldn't you say? An ancient Jain saying attributed to Lord Mahavira goes like this: live and let live. Love all. Serve all. These simple words do well to sum up this fascinating faith of peace, tolerance, and forgiveness. Time to leave the Library of Faith for the day, and it's almost time to leave South Asia as well. But don't worry, we've got one more stop. Come back next time as we head to the Punjab region of India to discover another religion. Until then, stay curious.